100, you know the gig. A sheriff is in the house. We're going to talk about a few things, then we'll take your phone calls directly. Sheriff, before we go on with any of that, I know it's across the county line, but it's starting to get national attention, is the case of Amanda Bach. And I mean, I've got callers and people are coming up to me around the whole area saying he's guilty, he's guilty. I mean, you've been in a lot of cases. I mean, you kind of got to let the evidence play out.
That's it, exactly. There's a lot of it's a very tragic situation. First of all, and controversy, about the father being a police officer, and a lot of the facts aren't out yet. I mean, you just got to let it develop and see what's what. The sheriff over there is conducting a great investigation, and the prosecutor working with them over there. So things will develop. A lot of speculation until we see what develops. It's just.
Are you guys involved in any way on this?
No. The only thing we did, we lent the services of our helicopter both Friday night and Saturday.
In the search for the body.
In the search for the body, right? Yeah, we were out there both days with our helicopter. The sheriff's department, Sheriff Lane, called us and requested it, so we were happy to lend it to him for an air search.
219-845-1100, the sheriff's in town. Sheriff, I'm sure you got some stuff you want to talk about, but look, can we go right at the 911 call centers? Where are we on this right now?
We're having another meeting this morning, our monthly meeting, and I addressed a group of business people at a luncheon last Friday, and that was the main topic of conversation. And I was frank with them that, this thing is going to be a real challenge, and that we have a lot of work ahead of us, and it's going to be a very costly situation. And, it's mandated by law. We have to have this in effect by December 2014. And what's unique about the situation here in Lake County is that we have 18 different entities, 18 different police departments. We have to put all these public safety answering points together to consolidate them into two in this short amount of time. And, Porter County's had their problems. They only had to consolidate 7 or 8 agencies. And they're in the hole right now, probably $3 to $4 million. And they're struggling right now to come up with a formula to try to overcome that deficit. So we do not want to go into that situation like that. We estimate it could be anywhere from $8 to $10 million operating costs annually with what we receive right now, and that comes off of surcharges, the 911 surcharges. Right now it's only 39 cents on your bill for landline, 50 cents for cell phones. That has to be drastically increased. We're way behind the rest of the state, other counties, as far as what the surcharges are, and that has to be done legislatively. We have to get everything together, show that we are going to consolidate, that we have accomplished the consolidation, and then we can move forward with the increasing the fees. Now,
when this ever comes up on the air here, folks call in and especially folks in Hammond, I think, are as concerned as anybody. But how many? It was like 16 or 18 municipalities in Lake County. 18 municipalities in Lake County.
Right.
And, in Highland, they're used to calling in, and there's the Highland Police Department, 911. They know it's right down the street. Now it's not going to go to them. It's going to go to the county. So it's one of your bigger challenges.
Well, it's not actually the county. I mean, there's going to be 2 sites.
2 sites.
Whether it's north and south, east or west, that's yet to be determined. But let me go back. The reason for this, first of all, that the legislature thought that the idea of this would be the consolidation will save money. Which probably hopefully will in the long run. But secondly, and most importantly, is that it came about as a result of 911 when we saw, and since that time, that communications for public safety, whether it be police, fire, or EMS, or whatever it is, wasn't up to par. We can't communicate with everybody. Right now we're operating just on separate frequencies. We can't really talk to anybody. To get one frequency, all law enforcement, all public safety can talk together. And that's what the goal is to do that. In the long run, it'll improve the safety aspect of it. But again, tackling this, the financial aspect of it, that's going to be the challenge. And where are we going to put the centers? There's a lot of turf wars going on. Some of the departments say, well, we want it here, we want it there. This is all got to be worked out. So the technology is unbelievable. Just sitting and listening to these people that have that knowledge, it's just mind-boggling. So.
Now, so you're in the middle of that. At the same time, you got the Department of Justice and the jail situations. I mean, you got a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah, full plate here. We're ready for our next inspection next week. All the big shots from Washington D.C. and from all over the country. There'll be a team of about 6 of them come in, and we're ready for our second inspection. And we've made a lot of progress. We have made a lot of progress since. They were here in March. We only had about 9 weeks after I took office when they first came in, and they gave us a scorecard and a list of things to do, and we have been going after that. And I think you're going to be, the public in general is going to be happy with what we've accomplished. And again, I don't expect a good report card on our medical end of it. There's a private contractor there that leaves a lot to be desired, and we're working on that vigorously and going to correct that very soon.
219-845-1100. Lake County Sheriff John Buncich is in this hot box of a studio here in Central Hammond.
And I've got a long sleeve shirt on.
There you go, and he's looking awful. He obviously has that meeting this morning, so he's all dressed up. But Sheriff, big sweep recently through Gary. Were you guys part of that?
Yes, we were. We spent 2 nights on the streets of Gary. There was a lot of planning that went into this. With the Gary Police Department, our agency, the Indiana State Police, the Indiana University Police, the Railroad Police were there, the South Shore Police, and very, very effective, well planned. And over the two-day period, we arrested over 125 individuals. A lot of them serious criminals. Seized a lot of weapons. Dope and that sort of thing, and sent a message to the community. I'm going to tell you the feedback that we have gotten from the community is overwhelming. It shows that it sort of reinvigorated the public there that, hey, there is hope there.
In or out of Gary is the feedback coming from?
Both. I mean, first of all, a cooperative effort among law enforcement. We used to do this before. We have these sweeps like this with Gary or with East Chicago or whatever, or with Hammond when I was sheriff before, and we're going to be doing a lot of this in the future, because it's again the camaraderie among law enforcement, but also the aspect that we're going to send a message to the criminal element that we are not going to tolerate what they're doing. Some of these gangs have virtually taken over some of these neighborhoods, and that's not going to happen under our watch.
You're a Gary guy. Was it Lou Wallace or
no? Andrean.
Andrean. I'm sorry. I know you grew up in Glen Park, though, right? Or
yes, Tolleson originally. Then
Tolleson.
Glen Park.
Okay, Tolleson, right. Glen Park. So you know the city very well. It comes out in the Times today that the crime statistics in Gary in 2009 and 10 arose, and there's still significant crime going on at the street level in Gary. What can we do to make Gary a safer place?
Gary is well, I guess it's not the largest city in Lake County now with the latest census. Hammond is, but still, it's you've got Gary has a lot to offer to this county, and we cannot ignore the fact that Gary is, just count it off and say, hey, forget Gary, it's a crime, nothing but a hotbed of crime and that sort of thing. Gary brings a lot to the table for Lake County, and if you don't have good public safety in any community, I mean, the cities are not going to thrive, and that's why we have to work together. It's part of our county, and you can't ignore that fact. There's a lot of industry in there, a lot of potential with that airport and that sort of thing. So I feel very strongly. I've sat down with the leadership in Gary, and not only the elected officials, but the law enforcement officials, the public safety, and just the leadership within that community. And they're very concerned about what's going on. And these stats that came out and everything, there is an increase. There's no doubt about it. There's a rash of burglaries in Gary now. I mean, they're breaking into homes at an alarming rate. And there's a reason for that. I mean, there's burglaries going on in broad daylight over there, and we're assisting the Gary police. We know where there's hotbeds of activity, there's burglaries and these sort of things, and a lot of it is gang related. I mean, that's what's happening now. They're going through these homes looking for weapons and that sort of thing. So we're addressing that issue. But everybody's got to pitch in. Everybody in this county.
219-845-1100. Phone lines are open. Hey, Jen, how are you? I'm with the sheriff.
Good, thank you, and thank you for taking my call, and good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Sheriff, I always appreciate hearing you on WJOB and appreciate your service and the work that your department does. And hearing what you said about that it takes communities pulling together. And in fact, I think Janet Vanez, who's one of our community crime watch leaders in the area, says, you know, residents need to be the eyes and ears for our local law enforcement departments. With that in mind, if a person is looking to start a community crime watch group in their neighborhood, can you sort of set forth the steps besides working with your local law enforcement department, how someone would go about contacting your Lake County Sheriff's Department, and what steps can be taken to create a crime watch group? Because no community is immune from any of these problems. We have several in our neighborhood. In fact, at the bus stop this morning, I had a neighbor share a story that we have 2 youths that were caught breaking into a neighbor's shed. And there's many other problems that we have in the community that I live in. And, you know, it does take people, just regular residents, pulling together and saying, we won't stand for this. Can you kind of talk a little bit about how you go about creating a community crime watch group and how we can work with your department?
Great. That was wonderful. Good question. The first thing I would do is you can give us a call at the Sheriff's Department, 755-3400. Ask for our community services. I've had a couple of individuals that are handling that. I would go through your council person, your local council, elected council person. And then through the police department. But everybody has to partake in meetings like that. It has to be your elected officials, your police agency, your local agency, and like I said, we're involved with it heavily. Encourage it, but and then get into the neighborhood. Like last night and the night before in Hammond and in Maryville, they went out through the area and they passed off flyers about the meeting and everything. Everybody, they had group leaders. They took a couple blocks. They were telling me, and the attendance was wonderful, you know. And like the other night in Hammond, I'm very happy to see that. Let's see, there were three city council people there present at that meeting, plus a county council person that represents that district. That's what it takes. That's what it's all about. Everybody getting involved in when they see their elected officials there, you know, and it's not only election time. Then they see that people care and they know what's going on.
Can it work, Jen?
I'm sorry?
Can it work?
I think it's necessary. I think it's the only way you ever really see change and improvement in fighting crime in the community. It takes somebody not to just turn a blind eye or say, oh, that's the police department's problem, or I don't want to get involved. I strongly disagree that that's exactly when you should get involved. And it creates a stronger community, and like the sheriff says, you're out with your neighbors, you get your elected officials involved, and you feel like you're part of the solution, not the problem.
Thanks.
There is power in numbers. There is power in numbers. Let's never forget that. And that's what I stress. If everybody sticks together, there's more good people than bad people. Everybody stick together, power in numbers, and then we can send a message to the scum that's in the area that's trying to destroy the neighborhoods.
219-845-1100 if you want to talk to the sheriff. Sheriff has brought some lazy cakes with us. They look like just a brownie. Evidently, you can buy these in some of these local stores. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But, Sheriff, describe what this we're talking about community policing and getting some of these crime watches going. What is this?
That's a placard that we're handing out. We're encouraging the public, and through all the community watches and all the other community watches throughout each municipality, city, or town, put that in your window. It sends a message that says, warning, neighborhood watch, all suspicious persons are reported to police. And, you know, I mean, this is what we want. You see a lot of these in the neighborhood, it's going to send a message because it's going to encourage. If one person puts it up, the neighbor will say, hey, I'm going to put one in my window too. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but it sends a message. And then it sends a message to the criminal element. You know, you want to play around, we're going to report you. All right? You're walking around here, you're acting suspicious, or we see cars or something going around, we're going to start calling the police department. All right, and I'm telling you right now, the police encourage this. They're not saying, "Oh, we're being bothered" or anything else. No, it's just the opposite. Little things turn into big things. A simple call could turn into a lead or something for the law enforcement that turns into something huge. Could break a burglary ring, gang activity, drugs, you name it, auto theft, any type of crime, vandalism, those sort of things. Go after it before it hits you. That's what we say.